top 2026 games per week. What are your top games for 2026, or what are my top games for 2026? I'm going to give you week by week. So basically, I'm going to be going over what game is my prime time game of the week each week. So you can't say, oh, these are the top games of the year, because, 5 of them could be the same week. No, I'm going to give you week by week. If I was to go to that game, that is the game that I would choose that week. So, and again, I'm trying to spread them out. I'm not trying to have the same team every week. You'll see some teams that you'll see on here 3 times or 2 times, and you'll see some bigger brands that you only see once. I'm looking for a matchup, a specific, like good matchups. I'm looking for importance, rivalries. So I'm looking at all that stuff. Got something stuck in my throat, but we're going to power through this real quick. So week 1, I have LSU at Clemson. That game is, like I said, at Clemson. So that's going to be a really good game. I cannot wait for that game. You look at these two teams. They're both just kind of disappointing last year, but have potential this year, more so LSU. So when I look at this game, I see a lot of pressure on it. Like, I see pressure building up. It's at Clemson, as I said, but man, there's a different dynamic for each team now. There's a team in Clemson who, with Dabo, they have to kind of get it done this year. Because, I'm not saying Dabo's ever going to be on a hot seat, which he never will be. He's one of the greatest coaches of all time. Easily top 5. Can't debate that. But what I'm saying is they are kind of on a losing streak in terms of success in the last couple of years. They haven't had much of it. And you have LSU, who fired Brian Kelly, brought in their dream coach, Lane Kiffin, and it's kind of all flushed and all new. So there's 2 totally different dynamics, but I think that week 1 is LSU at Clemson. I think it's no doubt. All right, week 2, I have Ohio State at Texas. This game is going to be phenomenal. This is probably the universal week 2 game to go to. This game is literally, I think it's going to be even better than last year. And yeah, last year was pretty good. I know it was 14-7, Ohio State won, but I think it's going to be better than last year. You look at these two teams, and they're two teams coming off of disappointing seasons, similar to LSU Clemson, but the dynamic is more so, like the pressure is more so built up at Texas, I believe, in my opinion, because Steve Sarkisian has no national championship. He doesn't have a ton of success when it comes to the playoff. Yes, they've made it to the semifinal once, but, they're missing a lot when it comes to playoff success, and Steve Sarkisian, especially coming off of last year, going 9-3, 10-3 if you count the bowl win. But coming off of last year, they kind of need a really good season. And it's all going to kind of come down to this game. Because if Ohio State beats Texas, then you're going to have a 1-1 Texas, most likely. And that is not necessarily the team that you want to be playing. Because Texas is going to have a huge chip on their shoulder, and they're either going to come out the rest of the schedule and kill it, or they're coming out the rest of the schedule like they did last year, kind of flat, drop some games that they shouldn't, like the Florida game. So this will be an interesting week 2 game. Week 3, I have as LSU at Ole Miss. This game is one of my most anticipated games heading into 2026. This is going to be unbelievable. Like, looking at the dynamic of this game, oh man. It's going to be so good. It's going to be so good. You look at these two teams, and it's not even about the teams. That's the thing. It's about the coaches. Lane Kiffin, Pete Golding. Lane Kiffin coming back to Oxford, Mississippi. It's at Ole Miss. Like I said, it's in Oxford. Oh, my goodness. Just close your eyes, unless you're driving, and just think about it. If you're listening on a podcast, just close your eyes and think about how good this game is going to be. Just imagine it in your head. It'll probably be a night kickoff, if I had to guess. Just think about that for a second. That view, that setting, it's going to be so good. So I have LSU at Ole Miss, week 3. Week 4, got to get going with these. It's taking forever to get through, but man, it's just fun to talk about these. I have Oregon at USC. This was a tough week to pick a game because you have the Oklahoma, Georgia, you have Texas, Tennessee, you have Texas A&M, LSU. But I think at the end of the day, I want to get this game in because I think that this game is going to kind of be a teller of how the Big Ten race is going to go. Like, it's similar to the LSU Ole Miss. It's going to really be a teller of how the conference race in the Big Ten is going to go. Who's going to go to the conference championship? How are these two teams' seasons going to look? So this game's going to have a lot built up. It's similar to the Ohio State-Texas. More pressures on Dan Lanning than it is necessarily. Well, I guess a lot of pressures on Lincoln Riley at this point too. So I guess it's just a boiler at this point. You're going to have a lot of pressure built up for both teams. There's going to be, I'm not saying this in terms of like hot seat, like firing, but I'm saying the seat is going to be hot. It's going to be burning. Of all the pressure that's going to be built up, man, that's going to be a good one. Week 5, this one wasn't the best week actually. Like, this was a tough week to pick a game. It's not a big week, but I did end up picking Miami at Clemson. This is the second Clemson game that I have on here. I can assure you it's the last Clemson game, but Miami at Clemson, again, it's not a big week. This one caught my eye because I'm like, if Clemson pulls off that LSU win, this game is going to most likely feature 2 undefeated teams. And it is, even if they lose that game against LSU, it's going to be most likely 4-0 Miami versus a 3-1 Clemson. It's going to be maybe a top 25. I think it'll be a top 25 matchup, I would assume at this point. And man, it's going to be a good one. You're going to have these two ACC Titans going at each other. I cannot wait for that game. Like I said, it's not a big week, so it's going to be, it was tough to pick a game. This next week is, it's not a bad week in terms of big games. This one's got 2 big ones, and it was tough for me to decide, man. I ended up going with Alabama, Georgia, but I could have easily gone with OU, Texas. This week is loaded. I really wanted to pick the Cotton Bowl, or not the Cotton Bowl, the Red River Shootout, which is played at the Cotton Bowl. The Red River Shootout is one of the best rivalry games, and Alabama, Georgia is always so intense too. So either one of those games, it also depends on how the team's schedule. Like if Texas pulls off that win against Ohio State, and if Oklahoma pulls off the early season win, which I believe is also in week 2 against Michigan, and you have 2 at this point 5-0 teams in Texas and Oklahoma playing against each other in the Cotton Bowl, I think that's the game we're going to go to, or I think that's the game that I would go to. Now, if you have two undefeated Georgia-Alabama teams, it's going to make it tough as well. But that's a tough week to pick. I ended up going with Georgia at Alabama. Week number 7 is another tough week, but I went with Ohio State at Indiana. This is the first time we're going to see Indiana really in like a big, like best game of the week type game. So it's going to be at Indiana. So Ohio State's going to be traveling there. It's going to be a very high-pressure game for Ryan Day because you think about the Big Ten Championship. He couldn't get it done against Indiana in the Big Ten Championship. This is going to be a little bit of revenge. I cannot wait to watch this game from home. I wish I was going to be there, but I can't wait to watch this game from home. It's going to be phenomenal. That is just the second time we're going to see Ohio State, but man, it's going to be worth it 100%. All right, week 8. Week 8 is a sleeper game. I have Ole Miss at Texas. Again, we're going to see Texas for the second time, and we're going to see Ole Miss for the second time. These two teams, I think, are going to have 1, maybe 2 losses at this point in time. So you're going to have 2 teams that are really kind of trying to make a push for the playoff, probably most likely in Ole Miss. I would say more so Ole Miss than any other team that are going to be attempting to make a push at the playoff. So I look at this game, and there's a lot that rides on it. There is, I believe they didn't play last year, but man, you're going to have Trinidad Chambliss versus Arch Manning. You're going to have Hollywood Smothers versus Quan Lacey. It's going to be a great matchup game, and man, I cannot wait to see that game. Week number 9. This is a game that's a lot under the radar, but I threw it in here. We're looking at Arizona at Texas Tech. I had to put a Big 12 game in here somewhere. Like, I'm not going to do this without the Big 12. And I love the Big 12 conference. But when you think about big games, the Big 12 just doesn't have a ton of big games this year. So I put Arizona at Texas Tech because I'm really excited about Arizona. Noah Fafita, Brendan Sorsby, I guess, is going to be playing for Texas Tech, I guess. But yeah, had to put a Big 12 game in there, so we went with Arizona at Texas Tech for week 9. Week number 10, this one was a tough one. Couldn't decide between Ohio State and Oregon and Miami Notre Dame. This was a slight, and when I say slight, I mean slight. This was a slight coin flip lean towards Miami Notre Dame. And when I say coin flip, I mean literal coin flip. Like I flipped a coin, and I'm not going to tell you what it landed on, but it landed on the one that I had for Miami Notre Dame, and that's what I went with. Miami Notre Dame. I cannot wait for that game. It's going to be unbelievable. Week number 11, I have Texas at LSU. This is the third time we're going to see Texas. This is third time we're going to see LSU. So we're going to see a lot of these two teams this year, and I really think it's going to be worth it to see those teams that many times. They're going to be both really good, and I think this Week 11 matchup is going to be under the radar. You're going to have a bunch of 10-2, 11-1, or you're going to have a bunch of 2-loss, 1-loss teams in this game, so it's going to be a top 25 matchup, most likely. Week number 12, another sneaky under-the-radar game, but I have Texas A&M at Oklahoma. Texas A&M is going to be a good team this year. Marshall Reed returns. I'm excited about this team. They're replacing a lot on the O-line, but that's a position where they're replacing a lot, and I know or I believe that they're going to be better than they were last year. Texas A&M, I think, is going to be great at the offensive line. Oklahoma, John Mateer returns. This team looks really good, man. I don't know what else to say. They look really good. So I'm going to go with Texas A&M and Oklahoma. First time we'll see both those teams. And then week 13, rivalry week. I'm going to go with Michigan at Ohio State. Oh, just think about this game. It's going to be so awesome. Cannot wait for this game. These are going to be two teams that are going to be coming into this game, but I think Michigan's going to have more pressure on them. That would be the first time I would have said that in a while, because Ohio State broke through last season, beating Michigan. I think the pressure is going to be on Kyle Whittingham and Michigan to kind of get this win. There's going to be pressure on both teams, obviously. Biggest rivalry in college football. But, man, I cannot wait for that game. So that is my full college football roadmap for week 1 through week 13. So make sure you let me know in the comments if you agreed with that list, if you disagreed, where you would put certain teams, what games would you have those weeks. Let me know in the comments, and let me know your preferred 1 through 13 games of the week. Let me know in the comments below.